Tātou. Good morning, councillors, and welcome to this June meeting of the Regional Council, and a very warm welcome on a very cold day to proceedings today. Members of the staff, public, media, you're all welcome today. How's that? Okay, I'll take us through the pardon me?
Unlike other days.
Every day. O God, our Creator, bless us as we gather today for this meeting. Guide our minds and hearts so that we will work for the good of our community and help all your people. Teach us to be generous in our outlook, courageous in face of difficulty, and wise in our directions. We ask this grace through Christ our Lord. Amen. Right. Apologies for today. I have one from Mr. Mohi. And I haven't heard from Councillor Dick. Someone happy to move that we accept that apology? A seconder for that motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Contrary, no. Carried. Both. Oh, I've only had an apology from Mr. Mohi. I haven't heard from Councillor Dick. Okay, notices. I have a couple here. As you're probably all well aware, the Manawatu, Whanganui area has been hammered with flooding in recent times. I've sent had correspondence with the chairman of Horizons to say that Hawke's Bay Regional Council are happy to help in any way that we can. We actually have an equipment memorandum with them anyway, so if they want to make use of expertise or any of our equipment, it's available. But the other thing that's cropped up is a lot of the dairy farms over there in particular have been absolutely smashed, and there's animal welfare issues for dairy herds, and some of them may come in this direction, which will put challenges on existing consents on local farms. But using emergency provisions, we're just playing it by ear, but I just wanted to let everyone know that the offer has been made, and some dairy herds may have to head to the bay to get through the next few weeks. It's a really critical time because calving, etc., they really need to go to dairy farms. So if they do calve down, they can be milked and cared for properly. So yeah, it's a tricky one, but we're working through it at the moment. So I'm not sure if any have actually come this way yet. No, okay. So yeah, emergency times, you have to do what you have to do. So. I have one up. Oh, yes, Councillor Barker.
I note that you said we've got an equipment sharing regime. How often has that ever been exercised?
I'd have to pass that over to Mr. Adey.
Yeah.
I'm not sure it's ever been exercised.
Yes, it has. 2004. We certainly lent our flood pumps to Manawatu, and following that the river managers from around the country got together and formalised the MOU. It was activated in the Bay of Plenty floods, which followed the 2004. I can't remember exactly when. But yeah, it's an agreement between river managers right around the country, and it's mainly involved with expertise and experience, and flood pumps would be the main thing.
Supplementary question. Do we have a central register of equipment that's available so that the area which is flooded, if they are short of equipment, can go onto a central database and see what's available around the place for ease of access, or do we have to have people have a ring around and ask what we've got?
There is no central database. That would be a huge job to put together and maintain. But there's a reasonable understanding that the various regional councils around the country have both flood pumps, which can be made available, and also emergency generators. So those are probably the ones that are at most demand.
Thank you. Any other notices? Councillor Belford.
I will be out of the country from roughly July 20th to August 11. therefore missing, I think, the July council meeting.
Well, actually, that is a good reminder to me. I need to be out of here at 3 o'clock today, and I've had indications from another couple of councillors that they have issues to attend, so my aim is to finish this meeting before 3 p.m. today, with your help. Okay. Pardon me? Item 2, conflict of interest declarations. There being none, confirmation of the minutes of the 27th of May.
Chair, I'd like to raise a couple of points of order in relation to the minutes,
Of May.
both sets actually.
Okay.
Firstly, in relation to the second set of minutes we're looking at, which is the 3 days of submissions.
Yeah.
Understanding order, we're supposed to get these by email 3 clear days and physical copies 2 clear days before meetings. Is that correct?
My understanding, I'd have to get our secretary to on there. And your second point, while she's doing.
Oh, no, well,
Oh, is it unrelated to that?
no, it's unrelated to that, yeah.
Aye.
Sorry, my understanding is the agenda and all the attachments, yes.
Not the minutes.
No, I don't think it does include the minutes, I'm sorry. I'll double check,
Okay, because I only received them yesterday, in fact.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, there was some delays. I understand other councillors had similar frustrations.
Yeah, so as you know, I filed a notice of motion which was rejected on the basis that it wasn't given 5 clear days, and yet we potentially haven't met our requirements under the...
Well, we're not sure yet.
No, but we potentially haven't, and so this is I'm not being vexatious, this is a genuine question. Are our standing orders tablets of stone, or are they a guideline for us?
Well, the rules of the game, really, but how we exercise them, I suppose.
Does that mean they're tablets of stone, or does that mean they're guidelines?
The rules of the game. I'm not sure about tablets of stone, councillor.
Well, I mean, the question I'm asking is, do we strictly interpret our own standing orders on the basis that we have obligations to the public to inform and so forth, or are they a guideline that we use that more or less governs our behaviour? That's the question.
Through you, Mr Chairman, the standing orders are the rules under which the meetings of council and business of council operates. They're not tablets of stone in that they can be amended, so you are able, you have the ability to amend any or all of the standing orders. So in that sense, they're not tablets of stone, but while they're adopted, which they were adopted at your triennial meeting in October 2013, those are the rules by which currently this council operates.
In other words, they've got to be strictly interpreted. Right, okay.
So let's clarify your question, and in the meantime, can we go through the minutes,
Yep.
perhaps?
Well, I had a second point of order.
Oh,
Chair.
second point. Yes,
Yep.
sorry.
So the second point of order relates to the minutes from the meeting of the 27th of May. You will recall a couple of months ago that we had a motion in fact was put on the table to modify and amend the minutes, which you rejected. You subsequently came back to us and said that in fact the minutes are in fact the council's and they can be amended by us, Chair. And that led to some discussion about what the minutes should contain, and I think that your interpretation was that it should contain, or they should contain, the flavour of discussion, but points that are made by individual councillors wouldn't necessarily, or statements wouldn't necessarily be included in them. Yet we have in this set of minutes a quite substantial statement from one councillor, and I'm wondering as to the appropriateness of that statement, and I'm looking for a ruling from you as to whether it's appropriate for that statement in such detail should be included in the light of the interpretations you've previously given to us.
Mr Chairman?
in my view, Chair, if it helps, it would be very easy for the minutes to include the very first sentence, which finishes at the words previous weekend, but not the balance.
Sure.
Okay. Councillor Scott is uttering those. What's your view on that?
Mr Chairman, this was a personal statement under Standing Order 3.8.12, which is quite different from recording the particular statements during a debate during council meetings. It is a totally different item.
Councillor Barker?
I would respond to that by saying that the particular incident that Councillor Bevan related to, there was a statement made by Councillor Scott at the time in objection to the inclusion, which was that the minutes were not a place for recording personal views. And because Councillor Bevan said that the amendment was to include the comments that he had made. That was the purpose of my amendment on his behalf. And it was seen by Councillor Scott as inappropriate because it was recording a personal view. Yet we have here Councillor Scott putting in a personal view.
I've got a solution. You move an amendment, what you said, and you second it. Sorry, you move an amendment that it stops at where we said weekend, and someone may second that. You move an amendment to the minute, someone will second that, and we'll put it to the vote.
Okay, so you're not prepared to make a ruling on it?
No, I'm prepared to let my colleagues make a ruling on it via vote. So if there's no amendment to that, I'll continue.
Oh, well, we haven't got to them yet. I mean, I raised points of order prior to that amendment.
But we're going through them for accuracy at the moment, and you're telling me that that's inaccurate and you'd like to see it changed, so
Okay,
let's
so
test it.
if we've now got to the point where we're actually discussing the minutes, yes, I'd like to do so. On page 2 it is. I'd like to move an amendment that the minutes be altered to include the first sentence only of paragraph 2.
And the remaining sentences be deleted.
And, yeah.
Yeah, got all that. Second it. Wish to speak further?
Well, just to reiterate the point I made before, Chair, which is my understanding of your previous interpretations of what should be incorporated in minutes is not to include personal views and statements and so forth, and I deem, in my view, this is inappropriate.
Nothing further to add, anyone? I'll make one small comment. In light of all that discussion, you will remember that I did put in a note that in the future, when we had an issue like this, we would deal with it in this way. So I'm pleased that we get to test it so early in the following that discussion. No other speakers. I'll put the motion, and all those in favour, please say aye. Aye. And against? No. Show of hands. All those in favour and against? You, Kara, did you put your hand up? You did. Okay. Oh, so you're against. You're in favour. You're for. Okay. So that change will be made. Yep. Okay. So let's carry on for accuracy. The rest of page 2, page 3, page 4. Page 5, page 6, 7, 8, page 9, page 10, 11, 12. So with the subsequent amendment there, is someone happy to move that's a true and correct record?
I'd just like to query this on page 8, where it says Councillor Bevan declared an interest in submission 48 from the Future Farming Collective, but participated.
27th of May, Councillor Dick. We'll get to that. Okay, someone happy to move the true and correct record? Thank you, Councillor Bevan, and a seconder for that, Councillor Pipe. Further discussion? I'll put that motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Contrary, no. Carried. Right, now we'll go to the next lot. we'll come back to matters arising for both sets of minutes once we do the next lot, if that's okay.
Chair, sorry, further point of order. We haven't yet got an interpretation as to the
She's still reading.
2 clear days on this, so I wonder whether it's appropriate to move and pass these at this point in time.
Can we go through them for accuracy? Or are you
Okay.
concerned about that? Okay.
No problem.
Okay. Because we've already had one issue raised. So, page 2 rather, in my minutes. 3, 4, page 5, page 6, page 7, page 8.
Yeah, Mr Chairman.
Page 8, okay.
Councillor Bevan declared an interest in submission 48 from the Future Farming Collective, but participated in discussions and debate on the issue and did vote. Is that correct?
My understanding, yes, it
Yes,
is.
that's
Yeah.
correct. I declared an interest, but not a conflict
Not a
of interest.
conflict of interest.
And he did so on behalf of myself as well.
That was never declared. The interest is, you've been talking to those people, my understanding. Yeah, sure. Okay. Councillor Hewitt.
In the first paragraph, and in light of the discussions, where it says those supporting the associated project or associated with the project, you're well known and respected in land management space in your own right. I just think that's opinion, and for the same reason, I think that should be taken out as well. We haven't expressed a view on all the other submitters through these minutes.
Just sorry, where is that page?
Page 8, first paragraph, and if you take the bottom 4 lines, so I'm just looking at the bottom 3 area, just the area where it's expressing an opinion on submissions.
Which may not be universally held.
We're not expressing opinions on any other submitters through these papers, so we shouldn't be expressing an opinion on those submitters. Someone's opinion anyway. What I'm suggesting is that it's crossed out from those supporting and associated with the project are well known and respected in the
So
land
you'll
management
put that,
space.
you're moving that as an amendment to the minutes?
As a deletion.
As an amendment to the minutes? And
However
someone's
you
going to
want to deal
second
with
that? Is someone going to second that? Councillor Belford, I'll put that motion and all those in favour, please say aye. Contrary, no. Carried. Thank you. Okay. Page 9. Page 10. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, page 20, everyone's still with me, good, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 25, yeah.
Just at the very top, which did correctly note the request for a Māori Technical Advisory Committee. And it goes on to say the RPC is now the support of a range of council technical science and planning advisors plus senior planning position. Perhaps that should be identified as the a Māori. It is specifically tagged that position, is it not?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so
Yep.
I just think in light of a resolution coming up later in the annual plan, that should be tagged with how you're describing the position.
I don't think it's specifically described as Maori, but it's certainly someone with cultural values expertise.
So perhaps a senior planner with Māori cultural expertise should be added into there.
So how far down to the amendment moved and seconded do we go, people? I think that's just a minor change. Is that acceptable? Okay, let's...
Can somebody read what the proposed wording is?
Chief Executive. We'll find that, okay, we'll come back to that as well. Bear with me. Page 26, page 27, page 28. Now, before we get into moving and seconding, we need to talk about that. We need to talk about your... When moving a notice of motion, normally you give me the standing order that you're using. So have you got the standing order that particularly is explicit around the minutes?
My apologies, Chair. I did look at them last night.
But you haven't got that?
But I didn't bring them along. And
I could rule it out, but let's see if we can find it here and deal with it. So. Who's first?
Just trying to find it.
Just by waiting, Mr. Chairman, could I just check when were the, because my understanding of standing orders is it is to receive, don't think it even mentions minutes, but when were they sent by Dropbox? Friday, thanks.
No, but if you'll recall, you amended the standing orders to say that you would have them electronically, not less than 3 days
Yeah.
prior to the
But
meeting.
doesn't mention Dropbox, you agree on that?
So it doesn't specifically mention Dropbox, but that's the electronic way that we do distribute them.
But presumably that's 3 clear days. And and Friday is not.
Friday's not a day.
Unless it's first thing Friday, it's not 3 clear days.
Yeah, that's true. And, I mean, I don't have, control over the post and those sorts of things. I would have gotten them out earlier if I had physically been able to.
And look,
That's not the question. Let's, but is there a specific mention around minutes in here? It's just agendas, isn't it?
Sorry, no, my advice is that, yes, the minutes should be included as part of the agenda and attachment papers.
Right, okay, so in fact, although I only got them yesterday,
Do we have the ability to accept them late? Do we? No.
Yes.
You do.
Yes.
So what standing order is that?
It's a good thing Leanne's got these two.
Sorry, understanding order 2.12.5, a meeting of a local authority is not invalid if notice of that meeting was not received or not received in due time by a member of the local authority unless, and it goes on. So you can waive the requirement by resolving to do so. So that's up to you to decide.
But my point about that is that that's about notice of the meeting. Now, that's notice of the meeting, which is not about the minutes.
But the minutes are not particularly mentioned in standing orders.
I look at 2.12.4, that deals specifically with attachments sent to members. This is the version I have, this version. 2.12.4. Agenda reset to members.
Well, let's deal with it. Someone move that we accept, that we resolve to accept the minutes. Someone happy to move? Councillor Dick, we have a seconder. Councillor Pipe. So we'll put that motion. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Contrary, no. Carried. So we're now dealing with the minutes. Thank you. Okay, so someone happy to move then that they are accepted as a true and correct record with the changes that were made. Oh, sorry, no, absolutely, sorry.
Sorry, I couldn't find the wording in any of the LTP documents, so
I'm going to bring it up. It's the wording in here that's important. If you could just read the wording out that the minutes were amended to.
God, I don't know.
Remind,
25.
25.
If I remember, it was a planner with appropriate cultural, Maori cultural expertise.
That would be fine, yep.
Question.
Councillor Barker.
I recall the amount of discussion on this, but I don't recall it as being specific to a planner. And my concern is that if we have it stuck in stone that it is a planner, then that sets this position off on a particular course which may not be what we intend.
Through you, Mr Chair, this is a position that's already been agreed to by council a few months ago and was included in the LTP. I think, councillor, the discussion that was held on that day of the annual LTP hearings was around a potential more broad engagement liaison person, and that hasn't been specifically specified in here. Yeah.
Thank you. Someone happy to move a true and correct record? You have moved. No, that was accepting the minutes. Now we're accepting that we're going to deal with the minutes today, right? So now let's accept the minutes. Someone happy to move that they are a true and correct record, please. As amended, yes. Happy to move. Seconder for that. Councillor Pipe, thank you. I'll put that motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Contrary, no.